If you ever think anything like me, you know that it can be easy to be impatient. And it can happen really fast that you lose your patience. This happens to me especially when, I'm trying to fix something or I'm trying to put something together and the parts just don't work the way they should or they're not going together, and it, it, it annoys me to no end sometimes. Or when I'm trying to hit a golf ball and it doesn't go the way I want it to, that really make me lose my patience. And parents, I know that can happen a lot with children. But what about God? Does God lose his patience with us? I don't know. That's a hard thing to say because we talk about God really in a theological sense as being immutable or being unaffected by emotion, at least not in the same way we are. That God, he doesn't, things don't hurt him the same way they could hurt us. But still, God, he wants his people to grow, and when they are sinning against him, when they turn away from him, it's not a good thing. And so, throughout the Old Testament, God is trying to teach his people how to live in accord with his law, how to live a right, ordered life, and how to love him. And so, in the book of Exodus, we read today that um, in the camp that God comes to Moses' tent, or the tent of meeting, and that's where he meets with him. And Moses begs God to stay with the people. Even after they've already turned away from him, they worshiped the golden calf. And he says, "This is indeed a stiff-necked people, but please have mercy on us." He says, um, "Pardon our wickedness and sins and receive us as your own." And God simply does want to receive us as his own. And his patience comes from his mercy, where he wants to pardon our sinfulness, where he wants to really show us who he is in love. But we must turn to him at one point or another. This is a hard line to walk because it's not as if we can just live our lives always just thinking maybe at the last minute I'll turn back to God. But God is asking right now for us to turn back to him. And so when Jesus speaks about the parable of the weeds and the wheat, he talks about the end times when God will separate the wheat and the weeds, and the weeds will be burned up. We don't want to be one of those that's going to be burned up, do we? Let's ask the Lord today to continue to be patient with us as we genuinely try to grow closer to him, to grow in virtue, and to grow in holiness, so that we might be with him forever in heaven one day and be a part of the righteous ones who sought God with all our hearts.